So, good afternoon. It's 3 o'clock. It's Monday, the 21st of June, the summer solstice, our longest day here, a gorgeous day here in Edinburgh, and what we hope you're going to enjoy. And we decided to make it a special occasion for a couple of reasons. One is that it's been almost a year to the date that Mike and I started to do these virtual tours. And we've built up quite a loyal fan club, shall we say, going along the way. And we've been really, really grateful for the contributions and the gratuities. So Mike and I have been doing this for almost a year, and we thought we'd commemorate it with a little special occasion. And we thought we'd bring you back to here where it all started, here at Edinburgh Castle. Things are kind of different here now because Mike will probably have a wee panoramic there, and you'll see that it's opened up to tourists. If you're from the UK and you're planning to visit Edinburgh in the next few weeks, then please book ahead because it's all times. You'll be allocated a time zone. You cannot just walk up and buy a ticket. Now, another reason that we wanted to make it special is we want to do a special thank you. What we decided to do with gratuities is we want to thank you very, very much. And I think you all appreciate how difficult it's been in terms of the sector. Tourism is really just starting off very, very slowly. So tourism was very, very badly hit. But another sector that was very badly hit was the theatre sector. And what we decided to do was to take a proportion of the gratuities that you provided to us and pass it forward to a theatre company a professional theatre company based here in Edinburgh, and we're going to tell you a little more about it. So I'm going to introduce you to Maria. Maria is the artistic director of the Lung Ha Theatre Company, and we're going to find out more about Lung Ha as well. So Maria, how long have you been established here in Edinburgh?
Lung Ha started in 1984 as an experiment with one show, and was called Lung Ha's Monkey. And the company thought, well, we don't have a name, so we just take Lung Ha as a company name. And as I said, it was supposed to be just one production, but we continued, and now we are established theatre.
So give us a bit of background and what's your basis and your...
So we work with actors with learning disabilities, and we are the only professional company in Scotland doing that. And we produce 2 to 3 productions a year, of which one is a touring production and one is a big scale production. We have 23 actors in the company right now.
Oh, good. And when you say tour, are you touring just Scotland, the UK, or where do you tour?
We tour around Scotland and internationally as well.
Okay, so which countries have you visited?
Oh, we have visited Poland, Ireland, Finland, Sweden, France.
Wow, very good. Yeah. And when you're doing this, and is it fully engaging? What age groups are you engaging in the acting? And is it just the acting, but you also engage people in backstage production as well?
It's mainly acting. It's for 18 plus. So our youngest actor, I think, is 19 or 20, and our oldest is 75.
Yeah.
And
brilliant.
But we also we have acting training, and then we also have mentoring in playwriting and directing.
That's great. And I'm not. This is probably going to come over as a very silly question. How has the pandemic hit you?
Well, we have been only online.
Yeah.
But we have done our acting training program, and the mentoring programs. We also done some rehearsed readings online. So we have moved online, and we hope we can take some of that work back with us to the time when we can meet in person again.
And when do you hope? I'm going to say hope rather than expect. When do you hope to be? Are you expecting a production this year?
Yeah.
Okay.
We hope.
Yeah.
We can do a small-scale touring production in the autumn.
In the autumn, okay. Because normally you're in some of the larger theatres. I understand you've been in the Festival Theatre in Edinburgh as well.
Yeah, and then at the Lyceum, we had to stop a production we were supposed to do at the Lyceum a year and a half ago. These
are major theatres here in Edinburgh. I mean, you have to. I mean, when you go to the festival theatre's booked out a lot. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
we are on the smaller stage there.
oh, okay.
Yeah, because
okay.
the main stage is massive.
Yeah, I know. It's probably one of the biggest in Britain, isn't it?
Yeah, but they have a small stage as well.
Oh, okay, brilliant.
So we then went.
And I'm going to introduce one of the actors. Now, the actor we're going to introduce you to has given us support. You might recognise him as Magnus. Magnus plays instruments for when we do our tour, so you might recognise him. He's played drums with us and he's played accordion. So Maria, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
And do you want to say a big thank you to people all around the world?
Absolutely. I will thank you so much for giving gratitude to Tim and Joe. I would like to thank you. These kind of donations really mean a lot to us, and this is going to our next full-scale production next spring in 2022 coming up. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much. Thank you, Maria. So I want to say thank you very much to everybody as well. That's £1,000 that from your contributions and your gratuities is going to help Magnus and his friends and his colleagues and cohorts to put on some productions to entertain the people, not only of Scotland, not only of Edinburgh, but internationally as well. So a big thank you to everyone involved. And thank you, Maria, for coming up here to this wonderful setting to do the handover of the cheque. So I hope everybody enjoyed the little presentation there. Yeah. One more thing, yeah, sure.
One more thing. If you want to know more about Lung Ha, please go and see our website, lungha.com. Thank you.
Okay, I'd just like to say thanks very much to everybody. Mike here behind the camera for all the follows, the likes and the support. And we just feel so great that we're supporting such a great cause. All the best.
So we're going to continue on a little tour. We're going to take you walk around the Esplanade here, and we'll say goodbye to Magnus, and we'll say goodbye to Maria. So thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
So let's have a wee look at the castle. Some of you will have seen this before in one of our previous broadcasts. When people come to Edinburgh, they think the castle was built all at the same time, but it's not really true. This castle is probably regarded as being the most besieged castle, certainly in the UK, quite possibly in Europe. It's been attacked by our friends across the border, it's been attacked from our friends up north, it's been attacked by ourselves, it's been under siege. But the oldest building that's still standing in the castle Esplanade itself goes back to the 12th century, and that is Queen Margaret's little chapel there. And we mentioned Queen Margaret before. She was a very influential woman here. South Queensferry, we've mentioned before, we've actually broadcast from South Queensferry. She started up the ferry across with the pilgrims went across to St Andrew. If you look at the door of the castle behind me here, you'll see above it is our national motto. And you'll see the Lion Rampant, and you'll see national heroes. So we've got Robert the Bruce and William Wallace standing side by side guarding the castle. The national motto is Nemo me impune lacessit, which means nobody touches me with impunity, which in modern parlance would say, if you're going to hit me, I'm going to hit you right back. It's great. We keep the Scottish Crown Jewels in here, and it is a must to go and visit. It sits on top of a volcanic outcrop. It dominates the city. I always say that if you cannot see the castle when you're in Edinburgh, you've probably walked too far and you're probably in Glasgow then, because you can see the castle from everywhere. The whole city is built around the castle. Now what we're looking at here is the castle Esplanade. Now the Esplanade, normally at this time of the year, you wouldn't be able to see all this, because this is where the international tattoo takes place here, the military tattoo. Didn't have one last year, can't do it this year. It involves a lot of foreign groups, foreign military coming over to perform here. And obviously with the COVID restrictions and the quarantine, we can't do that. I'm just going to say a thank you to the castle staff as well.
Thanks very much.
So thank you very much indeed for organising that, and thank you for giving us a cordoned off place. So normally you would have here an 8,000 seat stadium. If you haven't seen the military tattoo, Google it. It's absolutely amazing. It's probably one of the best shows that you'll see. I've seen adults cry at these events here. And so this would be absolutely packed with the big stadium. And also we use the stadium that's built up here. They start building it in May, and they bring it down in October. So it's here for about 6 months of the year. And they also have rock concerts here as well.
And it's on a slope, which many people don't know until they come here. When they watch the military tattoo, they think it's easy for all these pipe bands, but it's not, because you're marching uphill some of the time. Yeah.
And the dancers, because of all the dancers, it's really difficult for the dancers as well. So it's a tough gig for the performers, but it's a wonderful gig to come and see. And tickets get sold out quite quickly. So if you are planning to come to Edinburgh, everything's opening up. I don't expect to be lots of foreign travel until springtime next year, but if you're on an organised tour, if you come in the month of August on an organised tour, your tour agents or your travel agents should be able to get you tickets for it, because they sell it very, very quickly in advance. And I do believe that tickets have been are on sale for next year and for the year after as well. So if you're visiting Edinburgh and you want to come to the tattoo, I would highly recommend it. And a couple of things here, it never gets rained off, so even in the storms, they never rain it off. You're not allowed to use an umbrella. So come with a couche-touche, because the seats can be quite uncomfortable, so come with a couche-touche for your, little cushion for your touche. And also bring a coat. Even in the middle of summer, however, it can get very cool up here in the castle. We're at the highest point in the city, and it can be really cool. So even if it's warm during the day and you want to come up here, do not wear shorts and t-shirts to the military tattoo. So many Edinburgh people will bring blankets with them. We end up sharing with tourists who think it's going to be 25 degrees. The temperature drops very quickly up here in the castle. Let's move on a wee bit further. Let's walk around. So I hope you're all enjoying that. I hope you enjoyed a little presentation there. It's a great little company, and of course Magnus is involved in that as well, so we think your contributions are certainly going forward to a really good cause. Again, we're going to give you some panoramic views around here, and you can see the Old Town. We're in the Old Town, so we're actually the castle's at the top of the Royal Mile and the palace is at the bottom. But if you look across in the distance here, you'll see it looks like a bell tower with a black clock on it. This is George Heriot's school. George Heriot was a goldsmith to King James VI. King James VI, you'll recall, became the first king of the United Kingdom, and he moved his entourage, he was the Stuarts, so he moved his entourage down to London. George Heriot didn't really join him, but George Heriot was a goldsmith, a multi-millionaire in his day, and he left a lot of money to the city, and he was building this, and it was built originally as a hospital and a school for orphaned children. So it was built in 1690, and it's still a school today.
I actually attended there, Joe.
That's right.
And it was like Harry Potter's school. It was like Hogwarts, and if you go and visit today, which you can do when it's not running as the school terms, you're going up winding staircases, you're seeing really amazing towers, and it's incredibly picturesque inside as well.
It's fair to say that this is a school that inspired the book, Hogwarts, in the books as well. But another building I want to point over here is, Mike can pick this up, you see the beautiful hills in the background over there. The red building, the red brick, this is the Edinburgh College of Art, which is quite famous, and this has got connections to James Bond, particularly Sean Connery. Sean Connery was a model in here. He was a nude model, or a life model. He lived in a part of the city not too far, but maybe a mile to the west, and he was a milkman during the day. He also loved lifting weights. He was a weightlifter, and he posed nude, semi-nude, at the school to earn extra money in the evening. I've said to Mike he should do that and earn some extra money.
I did it as a student, but it was such a hard job, so I left it to the professionals, the people who could relax into themselves and not shake and be self-conscious and stuff like that.
That would be me. That would be me. I don't know if you can get the picture of the Arthur's Seat in the background there as well. Popular place for people to climb. A lot of people up there today. We can see here there's a lot of people up there today. The modern buildings you're seeing in the background is one of the faculties of Edinburgh University. I mentioned before that Edinburgh's got 4 universities. So there's Edinburgh University, Heriot-Watt University, there's Napier University, and there's Queen Margaret University.
I don't know if you guys can see, but I can see the students, the pupils coming out of the arch gateway of George Heriot School, away in the distance. But you might not see that in the pictures. But it must be getting near the break or end of.
Well, it's getting on for the end of the day.
End of the day. Yeah.
The school holidays start this week, don't they?
I think they do. Yeah.
So they'll be lining up for their. They didn't have any exams here in Scotland this year because they didn't. Some kids did have exams, but the majority did not have exams this year, same as last year. So a lot of them will be waiting on their grades coming out from their schoolwork to get into the universities they've applied for. Again, if you look down here, this is the Grassmarket area. This is one of the historic areas here down. There's a modern hotel there, but the view from the roof, or the roof terrace of that modern hotel, is absolutely stunning. There's a lovely restaurant on the roof, up on the roof there, and you get a beautiful skyline view of the castle at night. If it could be St George's Day, it'd be red. If it's St David's Day, it'd be red and green. If it's St Patrick's Day, it's green. And if it's St Andrew's Day, it's all blue. So they can change the colours. And they have, if it's pink on Breast Cancer Awareness Day. And at the moment, because it's Pride Month, it's actually rainbow. They light it up in rainbow colours at night as well.
Fabulous. It's a nice view. One of my favourite views of the castle is just that bit, where you see the older bit and you see the Pentland Hills there away in the distance as well. That's a very picturesque perspective there. They said that they were in the wrong profession when we were talking about modelling at the art college.
I never did it. So we're going to take you down just to the top of the Royal Mile here. You've got this wonderful apartments here, Ramsay Gardens.
In fact, it was Louise. Sorry, Louise, I got that comment, so I'm just going to embarrass you now and call you out. Say, yes, it was Louise who made that comment. So, right.
So we mentioned Patrick Geddes before. So Patrick Geddes he was a real all-rounder. He lived at the end of the 1800s, beginning of the 1900s. When he arrived in Edinburgh, he was a professor at the university. When he arrived here in Edinburgh, he saw that the Old Town was falling into rack and ruin, and he had a great vision. And one of the visions they had was Ramsay Gardens itself. So this was initially built as a student accommodation and also for the professors. So it started off as part of the university. And he was responsible for tearing down quite a few of the buildings that were going to fall down anyway, but recreating the Old Town in the state this is what you see today. And, I know that a lot of people were planning on coming to Scotland this year. Hopefully with your plans for next year, you'll come and join us and you'll meet Mike and I live as well. I've got two tours, but they're private tours for two friends. One is for a friend of mine, Philip Butterworth, who's on there. We're going up to the northeast. Another one is for a good friend of mine, Nicholas Start, so I'll give them shout outs. And we're going over to the Outer Hebrides, which is one of my favourite places as well. So I've got two little breakaway sort of staycations here. I've already been down to Dumfries and Galloway, which I love, with another friend called Debbie. And so I'm taking this opportunity, now that things are opening up, to take 3 or 4 days in little parts of Scotland. So I'll continue with the tour here. So we mentioned Patrick Geddes. You mentioned going down to see Hairspray at the Coliseum in London. It's great.
Yeah, we're doing that. Yeah,
because the theatres are all opening up in London as well, which is great. So you get the feeling that things are coming back to life. There's been a wee bit of delay, but there's seen more tourists on the street than we've seen for a long time. Now the tartan that I'm wearing and my kilt today is the World Peace Tartan, and the World Peace Tartan was designed for the Dalai Lama when his visit to Edinburgh, and this is where I got my kilt made in the tartan weaving mill, and it's in here. You can buy your scarves all in the World Peace Tartan. So it's a lovely tartan. I've actually got trews or trousers made in the same tartan as well. We're going to finish up with the bagpipes in here, but we might introduce you to another one of our locals.
Yes, yeah.
This has all been redesigned to some lovely restaurants up here. We've got the Scotch Whisky Experience. I love taking people to the Scotch Whisky Experience because we've got one of the largest collections of Scotch whiskies anywhere in Scotland. They do a lovely tour. They tell you all about how the whisky is made and they put it in the barrels. And I want to introduce you to one of our other characters. He's here. I'll just take Mike's
Oh
mic.
yeah, we're going.
Okay. Now, here we go. Here we got one of our local residents here. So good a wee introduction. You've been on the castle for how many years now?
Over 25 years, maybe around 27 years.
Yes. And you've got the same brave heart.
Well, to be honest with you, I used to do Braveheart to start with, but now I'm doing the picked, the painted people. Although I do fundraise to promote my merchandise labels, great, but it's also educational with people. The blue is from plant and the white's from the lime rock.
And you say you're doing it. You do it for charity as well.
I do for charity because.
Do you want to tell us a wee bit more?
Well, my image sells in shops by the Flower of Scotland Marketing, so it's Ronnie Brown's got a big contract with them, so I don't need to busk.
Yeah.
So what I do is I come out here, as you've seen me perform, and educate people, and if they want to donate, they can.
Yeah.
I've done it for over 27 years.
And any particular charities?
It's the Anti-Nolan Bone Marrow Trust.
The Anti-Nolan
Bone Marrow Trust.
I think a lot of our UK viewers will understand what that is, but for a lot of our international viewers, do you want to explain a wee bit more about it?
Well, the Anti-Nolan Bone Marrow Trust is basically leukemia. And the reason why I was put onto the leukemia is when I was busking to start with and didn't need to busk anymore, and because of the merchandise label, my partner said, why don't we do fundraising? It's good for the business, and it is good for business, but it's also good for the charity.
Yeah.
So why we picked leukemia was because only 5 pence in the pound goes into the overheads and 95 pence goes into the blood tissue and type.
Excellent.
So it takes, I think it's £50 per them trying to find the matching, which fails many times. So every time I raise £50, it helps them try and find a match to save someone's life.
And it's fair to say you're here nearly every day?
If I'm not school teaching.
Okay, and where do you teach?
I go from school to school, so I can be in Linlithgow, Livingston, Preston Pans if I get bookings.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, because of COVID at the minute, I've not. I specialise in teaching the Jacobites. I'm from the village of Preston Pans.
Okay.
So the Battle of Preston Pans was originally called the Battle of Gladsmuir. I've got the actual newspaper a month after the Battle of Gladsmuir it shall be.
Yeah.
So I'm very passionate on the British Army and the Jacobite Army, the cause of Charles Edward Stuart, his father James in exile, all that stuff. It's
We've just mentioned the Stuarts as one of our strong points as well.
Yeah.
Listen, thanks very much.
Oh, you're welcome. And before you go, do you know Bonnie Prince Charlie's name?
Charles Cosimo.
Okay, Charles Edward Lewis Casmaria John Sylvester Sale Marino Stewart. Charles Edward Lewis Casmaria John Sylvester Sale Marino Stewart. It's a pleasure, gentlemen. I'm just very passionate. There's nothing wrong with it.
Excellent. Yeah, we love it.
And I love the tour guides as well because I get a lot of love from you.
Yeah.
And I learn from tour guides. I have for many years.
Oh, you're always a stop when I'm taking my tours up to the castle. We always make sure we have a stop for you as well. So thanks for your time.
My name's Adam, though.
Adam, yeah.
My character's King Fergus of the Picts.
Okay. We will remember that.
You're welcome.
So, thank you.
You're welcome, gentlemen. Take care.
Cheers. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Cheers.
Care. It's nice to see you two guys on the street again.
It's very nice to see.
For about a year,
I know. He just said it's nice to see the tour guides on the street again.
I haven't seen you for a good year.
I know. We are coming out now.
It's a rare species now. I want to see you back here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Take care, gentlemen.
Cheers.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
I'll just get you
My
one.
favourite tour guide was Keith. Do you remember Keith?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Keith Lang, was it? Yeah.
Yes.
I like him.
Yes.
He was always, because he walked past the street, go, God save the king, goes, which king, goes, sir? There's two kings. He just played along with it. Yeah. I think some people think I'm a bit eccentric, but there's nothing wrong with it.
There's nothing wrong with the eccentric. No, we love it.
Especially if you love it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Yep. If you get one life, lead it.
Yes.
Yes.
Cheers. Thank you. So it was always great to interview. I mean, Adam's he's been, as I say, for 20 odd years, and I mean, he does work hard. He raises thousands and thousands of pounds for the charity. So, yeah.
It's good.
So, thank you. Lots of attractions here. We've got the Scotch Whisky Experience.
I believe this is the biggest collection of whisky anywhere in Scotland.
Yeah.
I saw the saying.
And it was donated by a Brazilian guy.
Yeah.
He thought all the whiskey should go back to where it came from. So he had made the collection and he sent it all the way back to Scotland. And they've housed it in here. And you can buy the whiskies in here, so they do it as a shop as well. And they've got a little tour. You sit on a little whiskey barrel.
That's
and
right.
Then you go around and they tell you how it's made, so they give the history of it. And it's got a really nice restaurant called the Amber Restaurant. You can do whiskey tasting upstairs. There's 3 levels. You can do the gold, silver, and the bronze. And some whiskey connoisseurs love coming here. I did my whiskey exams in here as well. So
They've got scratch and sniff cards that give you the aroma of the different ingredients, the different whiskies as well.
And from the different geographies where they come from, with the Speyside, Campbellton, Highland, etc. They've all got different smells. I'm saying I did my whiskey exams in here, which was, again, another tough course. Of course, another attraction here is the Camera Obscura. Camera Obscura itself is the oldest attraction in Edinburgh that you had to pay for. And it was it started in the 1830s, but it started on a different hill. It wasn't here on Castle Hill, it was actually on Carlton Hill, and it was started by a woman. So again, let's hear it for the ladies. It was Maria Theresa Stewart, I believe her name was. And she came from a long family of developing lenses. So the whole idea about this is up at the top, up in the tower, there is a little mirror or camera that picks up an image of the city, throws it down onto a table, and then you rotate the mirror 360 degrees, and you get like a 15-minute tour of Edinburgh. And it's real, again, and each floor has got a different attraction in it. And again, Patrick Geddes owned this, so he took it over again in the 1900s.
You choose a sunny day though, Joe, don't you? If you're going to Camera Obscura, you get the best image. If it's a day like this, in a way, would be good. Yeah.
But you get your money back. You get your if it's a cloudy day, they give you your money back.
Oh right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, it's a money back guarantee, or you get a ticket for the next day as well.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
So you can either go back if you can't see anything, they'll give you your money back, no quibble, and then they will give you a ticket for the next day, depending on the weather. I've got lovely apartments here, well, it's all owned by the Witchery, which is a restaurant, but also apartments in the city that you can rent out here. There's 2 restaurants in here. The one I would really recommend, I mean, they're both good, but the one that I prefer is called the Secret Garden. On a normal day we would take you in to show you it, but it's very narrow in here.
That's part of the Witchery. Is it the Secret Garden as well?
The Secret Garden is part of the Witchery.
Yeah. I think I've been in there.
Yeah, and it's not that expensive, but this is where some of you will remember Samuel Johnson and Boswell.
Boswell and Johnson, yeah.
Because they lived here when they were doing their tour of Scotland as well. So Samuel Johnson never had very much good to say about Edinburgh. But James Boswell, by the time they had finished, Samuel Johnson became a big fan of Scotland. So he wrote, but he had nothing to say when he first arrived, but he got his mind changed, and we took a wee look down the Boswell's court in there. They've got the Hall of Mirrors in here, and the kids love it. Something we used to do as kids when you were looking at you got there.
This is one of the wee hidden streets, isn't it? Many people don't come down this little one.
Well, there's a couple of reasons.
Yeah.
A, it's very steep.
Yes, I suppose so.
In winter time, it is treacherous.
It
really is treacherous. But people live here. This is it. People do live up here, up at the castle itself.
In fact, I've got a connection with a family called Ramsey, who've got apartments here, and we were going to work together and hope to do soon in a 2-centre holiday, because I've got a little lodge house in Angus, and these people have got apartments here in Ramsey Gardens. So all being well, people will get a bit of the town, a bit of the city, and a bit of the country. So we'll see if that happens. Just love these street lamps as well.
Pick up some of these buildings here. This is all part of the university as well.
Yeah.
This is part of the School of Divinity, which we can finish off at the School of Divinity.
Yeah.
But have a look at these little gardens here.
This is beautiful, isn't it? Yeah. This sort of nooks and crannies.
And Alan Ramsey, the artist, lived here.
Yeah.
Yep. And the poet, with the father and son.
The poet, he was a great promoter of the Scots language, which they were trying to stamp out, but he was the person that kept it going.
And again, recreated by Patrick Geddes, whose name pops up everywhere in the Old Town.
Of course, yeah, yeah.
And if you look up here, Mike, these buildings here are actually old schools.
And notice the top too, Joe. You know, it has that European kind of Dutch feel because, as you know, we were so influenced by the Netherlands with mercantile business, going over to Europe. Yeah.
And they've both been, well, one of them is owned by the university and the other building is still owned by the Camera Obscura.
Yeah.
So they use it a bit of a storeroom. And I've got taken in there, and it is really spooky. The old school has got still got jackets, kids' jackets hanging on the old pegs in the cloakroom. And there was a pram, an old-fashioned pram, and in the pram was this Victorian baby, and the eyes, it's one of those, you touch it and the eyes blinked. Gave me the whole pajamas, because I used to work in the Camera Obscura, and at night time when you had to close it down, it was the spookiest place, and they say there's a ghost in there called George. Well, I used to get the heebie-jeebies closing that place down at night time when you were the last person in and you had the keys. I never spent very long in there at night time.
And there's another thing on the skyline, the Walnut Whip.
The Walnut Whip.
A new building, St James Centre.
It actually opens this week.
Yeah.
So they've got a light show going on every night at the moment, lighting up the new hotel, the new centre there. It's Walnut Whip. And a lot of people might not know this, but the Walnut Whip was actually invented in Edinburgh by Duncan's of Edinburgh. Yeah. So I think that's a connection. So first Walnut Whip was designed here, but the view from here.
I used to as a kid, I used to like the chocolate, but when it got to the nut, I just got a bit bored, and it didn't appeal. But just in case people can't see it, I think we'd better do a bit of a blue badge orientation. You've got the Scott Monument, it's a big, like the rocket, the black rocket, pointy thing. And then you just come over a little bit, you've got another building with a cone-shaped top, and then just to the right of that, you've got the Walnut Whip that Joe was talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's an upmarket shopping mall. It's all opening up this week. So they've got light shows every night. But this is a great divide here, still in the Old Town. We're going to get a great view of what they call the New College, which is the Faculty of Divinity. And the last time we were not allowed to go in here, Mike, but I think we can go in here. I'm going to take you in.
Don't worry if we get chased away, we'll just...
we probably will get chased away, but it's just inside it when you get to see it. So this is the Faculty of Divinity. We have a statue of John Knox here. This was built in the middle of the 1800s. And
this is Playfair.
Yeah, it's a William Playfair architecture.
Architect.
And he designed the Royal Scottish Academy and the National Gallery of Scotland. And during the festival, this place is taken over by the Fringe Festival. So they have a Fringe Festival here, not this year of course, but under normal circumstances, nighttime. I think there is a bit of a humour there because just opposite John Knox, who was a very fierce Presbyterian, he's got his Bible in one hand and he's telling you off with the other hand, and then just opposite him they built this great big bar. so the Presbyterians in the old days were supposed to be abstemious, and yet nowadays they build a big old bar opposite. So I think that this could be a good place for us to sign off, Mike. What do you think?
I think it would be, and it's just incredible architecture. And there you've got the hub there, the spire. Gillespie Graham, I think, was the architect.
Yeah, and I think this finishes it off. I don't think the story goes that Playfair was not very happy when this church up here was built, because he wanted this to be the crowning glory when you looked up from Princes Street up to here. And of course then Gillespie Graham went and built the church, which used to be known as St John's Highland Tolbooth Kirk. And it used to be where they had the Gaelic services as well. But I think that it was done on purpose, because it just finishes off this building here, and you can see that spire. And when you're down in Princes Street, it does look like the spire is part of this building.
It's like part of the same building.
Yeah.
It's an illusion.
It's an illusion.
And I think Gillespie Graham must have done that. He must have known
Oh,
for
he's
sure.
done it on purpose. I'm sure it was done on
that's
purpose.
like, yeah.
I'm sure William Playfair would have been spitting feathers or tacks when he saw that. The big spire you're looking at there, this is not a church anymore. It's actually a theatre space, and it's where you go and buy tickets for your shows. It's a cafe, and it's also a place, a private club during the festival for actors. It turns into a private club there. And there are shows in the building itself.
And it was here where the Scottish government, Scottish Parliament sat before the new building in its early days.
Yep. When the Scots first voted and during the referendum, this is where the first Scottish Parliament sat.
Yeah.
Or where we say the Parliament was reconvened. It didn't actually get dissolved, it was just reconvened.
That's right.
But there's some big theatre, lecture theatres in here, and which are used for stages during the festival.